Some 4-year-olds can do it. Some 6-year-olds are so distracted, especially the boys,
Yeah.
they can't take 10 breaths in a row. It's just like giggling, they're laughing, and it's you breathe all day long. Just breathe and then
Mhm.
giggle and laugh. But are
Yeah,
you
we do only MDIs pretty much in the clinic. We have nebulizers, but we pretty much only do MDIs.
consider any patients with diplosamab that have the eczema, the asthma, and the allergic rhinitis, and they're difficult to control?
If they're difficult to control, oftentimes then we will send them to either pulmonary or asthma allergy. We do have that resource. We find that if we try to get that approved just on our word, we have a hard time getting it approved. And so if we get a one-time visit with asthma allergy or pulmonology and they say yes, then we can get them on it. So
Okay.
that
So
tends to
you're
use our
so to
specialty.
me, you're a real pediatrician. You're
Yes.
taking care of real medicine.
Mhm.
And then on the obesity side, how do you manage that program? Because the guidelines from the AP are one visit once a week for an hour for intensive therapy.
Yeah,
That's
can't
just
do
not
that.
possible.
Can't do that. It's A, we don't have the resources, the manpower to do that, right? Like I don't have the pediatricians or APPs to actually manage that. I can't get the insurance companies to pay for other people to do that education, to pay for it adequately. So even if I trained a nurse to do it, I wouldn't get paid enough to make that worth its while. I can't get nutritionists paid for. I can't get physical therapy or a personal trainer paid for. So all of that stuff that's in there sounds great, but it's not practical when it comes to both payment and resources.
I think these things are designed for academic centers.
They are. We have two academic centers. I don't know if you'd call Boys Town an academic center, but it is a pediatric specialty care facility in Omaha and then Children's Hospital in Omaha. They both have pretty well established obesity programs. The problem is, none of my patients are going to drive an hour in each direction once a week for that care. Most of my patients that most need it, their parents can't even take off work during the day to go to appointments. So I don't know how they're going to take off. If they can't take off an hour to come to my office, how are they going to take off a half a day or a full day to go to Omaha and back for that care?
Every
So
week for
yeah,
26
every
weeks.
week.
That's a lot to ask of any.
And even if it's telehealth, but it's how good is that? How valuable is that? How can you do you build up relationships with these people that they trust you?
Some people say
And
you do.
And I mean, sorry, I'm going to interrupt
no,
you,
no, no, go ahead.
but I'm just fascinated by your business model. And then, do you do any remote monitoring of the weight or for these kids or
I don't. We haven't incorporated any remote monitoring outside of portal communication with weight, and then we do have part of our obesity program is an exercise class program. The parents sign up for a minimal fee through one of our. There's a personal trainer in town who has a facility that's allowing us to use that, and she helps with the program. And so they can do weight monitoring there, but we don't have
okay?
remote weigh scales in their homes that feed into our portal or anything
I
like
think
that.
this remote monitoring, Herb, is a cool thing. It's probably a good thing, but it's not quite ready for prime time, at least not in pediatrics. Pretty soon it will be. I wouldn't.
I think for some diagnoses
Yeah.
it might be. I
Mhm.
think if we have for asthma, it might be great. We worked with a company doing remote patient monitoring for heart failure. And so the idea was how can we incorporate this for asthma? They had regular check ins with their smartphones so that we could
Yeah.
monitor symptoms and make sure that they were on the right controller therapy. The biggest problem was just patients buying in and actually
Yeah.
following through. So
Yeah.
that kind of disappeared,
I,
but we've
Yeah.
we've worked on that for asthma.
I think Nemours had this is maybe 10 years ago, but Nemours was working on trying to get the device manufacturers for peak flow that was
Yeah,
digital to
that's what
integrate
we had.
into an app and then to a portal. I do think getting a scale in the patient's home, since they're not going to be able to come every week, and this is a simple concept of change management. What gets measured improves.